I want to turn now to the harrowing story of a Ukrainian soldier who was injured fighting for Mariupol and then held captive in Russia. CNN's Nick Payton-Walsh now with more.
This is how Khlib's war ends. But if you told him he was lucky, he'd probably agree. He fought for Mariupol in the other steel factory, Illich, since the war began. Put tourniquets on friends. Felt the heat of Russian tanks blasting his building from just meters away. He survived, but only just. Here, after 17 days, as a wounded prisoner in Russia.
Very often when I close my eyes, I see that moment when the tank was firing at me and my side getting injured. On the day of my injury, one of my boys, a machine gunner, was killed. Every time it's personal. Every time I heard it over the walkie-talkie or in person that someone was dead, it would conjure memories of him.
His mind also in pieces, left grappling with fragments of the worst fighting in Europe for decades.
You know, there's a point when the brain accepts it, seeing the phosphorus missiles, seeing aviation flying in. When this became normal, that was scary. We learned how to fall asleep with this accompaniment. Instead, it became scary to fall asleep in the silence.
2 moments, though, haunt him here.
The first time I used tourniquets on my friend, and the second scene is this. We saw aviation destroying whole hangars, watching a huge hangar to have nothing left in just seconds. This has really been engraved on my memory.
Wounded on April the 10th, when he regained consciousness, he was not where he thought he was.
First time I found out I was held captive was when we were inside an ambulance, me and another guy with similar injuries. He asked, "Are you ours?" And they replied, "It is unclear now who you mean by ours now." They said I was under the guard of the Ministry of State Security of the separatist DPR, but it was scarier when I got to the separatist hospital. I was told by a Russian soldier, "You'll have to forget Ukrainian now. You will only get help if you ask in Russian."
The Russians kept him alive, he says, so they could exchange him for their own.
There were 2 of us bedridden, so we had to be fed by nurses. So they would say, "Because of you, my son got killed." I tried to be understanding, but they were accusing us of things we never did. And we had Russian news read to us all the time, in the morning and evening. That was a lot of pressure on the mind, a distortion of reality.
On April the 27th, the exchange happened and he was put on a plane. His pelvis crushed, his lower jaw broken, brain concussed, but he can still feel his legs.
And I also have problems with my eyes because of constant bright flashes and dust. So at first they were glazed. Then they opened. For now, I still can't see with my left and my right only silhouettes. My body was broken, but not my spirit. My doctor says that I would be able to pick any New Balance sneakers by autumn. That makes me happy.
Don, a remarkable story really of courage, resilience and ultimately hope of recovery there. And while the fighting around Azovstal in Mariupol, the steel plant there where there are still some Ukrainian soldiers holding out, is rightly the focus of so much attention right now. What happened to Khlib at the Illich plant a matter of weeks ago, he says, is an example of how different Ukraine treats its injured, its fallen, to Russia. There have been multiple reports of Russian troops simply being left to die or dead where they fell. And his point is that Ukraine has done all it can to get him back to the motherland here. Don?
Nick Payton-Walsh. Thank you very much.